Hello, everyone. Good morning, good afternoon, and thank you for joining us for today's webinar on Copilot Studio Governance, Control, Compliance, and Confidence in your AI agents, featuring Microsoft MVP Rene Modery. My name is Vlad Katrinescu. I'm Syskit's technical evangelist and a Microsoft MVP from Montreal, Canada. Also here with me is Rove, who will be discussing the benefits of Syskit Point later on. Now, most of you might already know Syskit as an organization, but for those of you who don't, let me briefly introduce you. Syskit is a software development company founded more than 15 years ago. We currently have more than 3,500 customers around the world, ranging from small businesses to very large corporations. Our flagship product, Syskit Point, is a scalable platform that helps you simplify your Microsoft 365 visibility, governance, and security. And whether you need detailed reports, real-time access management actions, optimizing storage usage, or getting and keeping your organization Copilot and agent ready, Syskit has you covered. Before we start, I just want to share a few of the boring but important housekeeping items. All registered attendees will receive a recording of the webinar within the next few days. And after Rene's presentation, we will discuss how Syskit Point can help give you Power Platform visibility and help you keep your data safe and agents under control. After that, we will, of course, have a Q&A session where Rene will answer any questions that you may have. So please use that Q&A function. Ask him all the tough questions. Don't be shy. Any question you have, put it in there. Now, it's my pleasure to introduce you to today's presenter, Rene Modery. Rene is a Singapore-based Power Platform leader and a longtime Microsoft MVP and a friend. We've been seeing each other at events across the world for about a decade now, and he's currently working as a Power Platform technical lead at WPP. Rene specializes in enterprise governance, technical delivery, and value measurement across multi-tenant environments, and he has a very deep expertise in the full Microsoft ecosystem. Rene is also a frequent speaker at Microsoft events across the world. And enough from me, you're here to see the star of the show. So let's turn things over to Rene and give him a warm welcome. Rene, are you ready?
Well, I hope I am. Thank you, Vlad. And also good morning, good afternoon, and maybe even good evening from my side to all of you. Thank you for joining us today on this session on Copilot Studio Governance. Basically, what we're going to talk about today is obviously then how can you get started with governing, managing your agents. Just to make sure that we're talking about the same thing here. So expectation is not that in the next 45 minutes you become experts and you know everything that you need to know about governance, about Copilot Studio agents, how to manage them, how to control them, etc. We don't have a lot of time, so we're barely basically covering the tip of the iceberg, but I hope that you will still find some value out of this session. There's always a lot to talk about, but getting started to talk about it, getting started to basically hear some suggestions on where do you actually get started, what should you think about, what should be looked at, etc. That's obviously a very important first step, and that's what we are going to do today. So let me just try the next slide. Yes, so couple of the things on this slide were already mentioned by Vlad just now. So again, I'm working with the Power Platform day in and day out. I've got a big responsibility. We've got around 100,000 colleagues across 9 tenants at the moment. So quite a challenging technical environment. So what I see is basically everything that could basically possibly seen when it comes to the Power Platform. There's lots of people who have various different demands, who require various different things. And looking at the numbers that you see here, basically it really means that yes, I need to figure out what is going on, how do we manage it, control it, carefully roll it out, while also ensuring that people are not getting, for example, blocked nonstop or so. But long story short, we're going to get into more technical details about not fully technical is, but we're going to go in more details around what kind of important governance aspects should be looked at in the next few minutes. I'm based in Singapore, as Vlad said, so late in the evening for me, but happy to obviously present about topics that are very dear to my heart. I'm also MVP, as Vlad said, so quite a long time now, and always happy basically to share what I know or what I experienced. So as mentioned, at the end of this session, then there's also going to be a Q&A. So any question that you have, doesn't matter what it is, put it into the Q&A section. I'm always happy then to have a look at it towards the end and then hopefully then be able to answer most or all of those questions then. So let's get started talking actually about Copilot Studio agents and governance. Obviously, it comes to no surprise to anyone that agents are one of the biggest, or I don't want to call it the biggest topics in the tech area right now, but really one of the biggest topics. So Microsoft is pushing agents heavily. There are various types of agents. Some of them obviously for example, Azure-based pro-code agents. Some of them are the low-code-based agents that you can develop in Copilot and Copilot Studio. And what Microsoft basically said at some point earlier this year, when I say earlier this year, it's not that long ago, but things are moving fast. But they basically said at some point that they see basically more than 230,000 organizations, including 90% of the Fortune 500, using Copilot Studio. Obviously, using does not mean that every company is a heavy user of Copilot Studio, but it still means, obviously, yes, there's a very big interest in Copilot Studio. You also see the second line here, IDC projects that there will be 1.3 billion AI agents by 2028. Obviously, it's always a forecast, it's an estimate, may be wrong, and it's not going to be obviously Copilot Studio agents, but still, we know it's going to be a growing number of agents that we see over the years. If you look at, for example, what was going on 2 years, 3 years ago, maybe even a year ago, compared to where we are right now, there's definitely been a growth, and we will see further growth. I see it in my organization as well. Looking back, for example, to when we had Power Virtual Agents, there was like a little bit of interest, but not too much because it was still a bit too static, not smart enough, lots of manual effort required to create something that really, depends on you providing the right answer. But now with the emergence of AI as a very important part of the agents, it really means then, yes, we see growing numbers. We also see a growing interest because a lot of things became easier. Agents providing smart answers, looking up the relevant information and sharing it with colleagues, or even becoming autonomous and executing actions by themselves, definitely gaining more and more traction. And all of that naturally means then, from an enterprise perspective, somebody at some point of view, as somebody who needs to be making sure that agents are getting used the right way, are not causing any security issues, making sure that agents are properly supported, adopted, etc. That really means, and obviously, governance is becoming the top critical priority for a lot of things, basically. Now, again, as mentioned, we won't be able to talk about every single aspect of governance. There's lots of things that we won't be able to talk about today. Even a simple, smaller aspect of governance basically could be discussed within a few hours or so. But I really hope that within the next half an hour or so, then that you will get, like I said, a lot of additional insights that will then help you and will get you started on your journey to start planning and executing your governance as well. So we know now agents are becoming more and more important. So how does that actually manifest? What's actually going on? So as mentioned, people who are working for companies, basically, it becomes a lot easier now for them to create something. So citizen developers, something like that, for example, they can now easily go and create agents. I mean, somebody with a Copilot license can easily go in and start creating their agent. They can create declarative agents. They can start working on more complex agents, but they can do that. And just thinking, okay, you didn't teach those people how to do it. People will start working on it. They may look up YouTube videos. Oh, how can it be done? They heard about it from somebody else. Oh, I created an agent that takes care of my, I don't know, my inbox in a way or something like that. They will also start to explore it. So more and more people will really start exploring agents. How can they build it in Copilot Studio or with Copilot? And yeah, there will be an increase in agent activity. It also means that there will be more and more, let's call it shadow copilots or shadow agents, would probably be a better name, but really there will be agents out there where you don't know what they're doing, where they might fulfill a business need, but you're not even aware of that business need. And again, that's a relatively common challenge. You give your business colleagues the means to do something, they will do it at some point. But the question is, should they do it? Or if they're doing it, do they get the right kind of support? Or are they maybe even reinventing the wheel? I mean, who knows? There might be the third leave request agent that gets developed right now, even though you're planning on deploying a centralized tool for leave request management or so. So yeah, there's a risk basically that something is going on here, and you as IT or IT manager or responsible for agents, you're not really aware of what's going on. Another concern, and the more you think about it, is then yes, those agents, they can actually connect theoretically to a lot of things. So somebody could create an agent that connects to company data, and company data can be a lot of things. It could be simple things like, yes, my spreadsheet in my OneDrive where I've got some, yeah, not so important numbers, but it helps me personally. But it could theoretically also connect to I don't know, some other data somewhere that is really, I don't know, private, confidential information, be it now HR related or finance related. Theoretically, those agents could pull that information. And the question is then, what's going to happen with that? So should that be allowed? Should it not be allowed? How do you manage that? So one important thing that also needs to be considered here when you're building agents, or more importantly, when other people build agents. Because again, from a compliance perspective, legal perspective, if you want to do auditing, etc., it might still be your responsibility. So if you are responsible for the Power Platform or for Copilot Studio, or it's called agents generally, when somebody else is building something, it might still be an area that you should be aware of. So you still need to be aware of what's going on here. So if somebody is building a sorry, if somebody is building an agent again that consumes, like I mentioned, confidential information and provides it to users, would be better if you're aware of it before, I don't know, everybody's salary gets leaked to the whole organization or something like that. You get the idea, basically, what could potentially happen. But yeah, the more you start thinking about what's actually going on and what could happen, obviously, you realize, yes, AI agents are easy to build, but they're becoming a bit hard to govern. And yeah, that in the center here, that is actually, I asked Copilot, Microsoft Copilot, to create an image. I didn't describe how the guy should look like, but somehow it realized it's probably referring to myself, because it's quite a common feeling for me as well. And when I look around, oh, what's actually going on? Definitely starting sometimes to panic a bit around, okay, we need to get something under control. There are lots of things happening. Let's not get it worse, actually. Now, something we need to do. So what do you start thinking about? Or what should you start thinking about? So there are a range of different things now. You want to know actually who's allowed to create agents. Is it, again, everybody that has got the right license? Should it be maybe only a smaller group of people that underwent some training, or that went through some kind of, I don't know, webinar where you told them what they're allowed to do and what they're not allowed to? Or is it really just, again, all within IT, for example? Only IT people are allowed to build it, but they build it with the business. So yeah, something to think about. Where do you build those agents? So again, you need to start thinking about, I'm going to put it all in my default environment. Do I create separate environments? How big or complex do you want it to be? Do you need a development environment? Ideally, yes. Do you need a UAT environment? Do you need multiple development and UAT environments, etc., etc.? So lots of questions coming up, because, hey, you start building an agent that requires a Dataverse table that contains sensitive information. Should there be a lot of other people in the same environment that could see that data? So yeah, lots of things to consider here. Continuing then, yeah, where do you want to publish those agents, or where do you want to allow people to publish their agents? Is it any kind of channel that is available? Is it only specific channels? Should it be, for example, only the M65 Copilot and Teams channel? Should they be allowed to publish their agents to WhatsApp? Yeah, range of things. And obviously, the current set of channels is not going to be the set of channels that's going to be around for the next years. I'm pretty sure we will see a couple more channels appearing. I think WhatsApp that I just mentioned is the newest channel, if I'm not wrong, but yes, definitely some new channels appeared. So really something to think about. And at the same time, then also what kind of other systems should your agents actually be allowed to use? So should they be allowed to get data from SharePoint, from Dataverse? Should they be allowed to connect to SQL? So standard things. But what about other systems? How about Box, Dropbox? How about your SAP system? How about Dynamics 65? How about, yeah, lots of other systems, etc., etc. So you start to think about all of that again. What do you want to allow those agents to do? And again, it's not just the agents, but could also be, for example, agent flows connected to those agents that the agents then use. But yeah, what should they be allowed to use? Do you want to restrict it? Do you want to allow it? Do you want to undergo some review process? So when somebody says, I want to build an agent that connects to Dynamics 365, okay, you need to go through a certain, I don't know, review and security process. You want to connect to SharePoint, no problem at all. Those kind of things need to be basically also considered. All right, and then you also start to think, obviously, then, okay, all those people doing something, who's actually doing something? I mean, even if you set something up, you still want to know what's actually going on, who is building agents and for which purpose. So you really want to know actually what is really going on inside your tenant. And when you've been around for a while, and if you are a Power Platform administrator, you start to think everything that I started to list here sounds a bit familiar. So didn't you think about that before? Didn't you work on that before? Because I know if I jump back, for example, 3 years or something like that in time, then I know, yeah, those were the exact same questions I had before, just that I replaced agents with apps and flows. And yeah, we already thought about that. So the governance aspects in terms of, oh, what do we want people to be allowed to do? What should they not do? How do we support them? How do we prevent them from doing something wrong? We did something similar for Power Apps, for Power Automate flows before. So in a way then, it's quite similar to what you might already have in place as part of your Power Platform governance. So you start to less think about, okay, what should be done, but start to realize, hey, actually, it's something that we already have maybe in place to a certain extent. So maybe it's not covering exactly everything that you need right now, but it could be a good starting point. So your existing Power Platform governance is not necessarily something that's completely separate from Copilot Studio agent-based governance, but could complement it, or you could enhance it a bit then to cover agents as well. So yeah, my point here basically is then you could start to really start reusing and extending your existing governance, your existing strategies that you have, your policies and processes. Again, there are lots of things here. When we talk about, oh, where should you put your agents? Same question before. Where should people allowed to create apps and flows? Should they do it all in the default environment? Do they request a dedicated environment or a set of dedicated environments? This also means then you can control who can create something. So you could say, oh, don't create agents in our default environment. You can create them in your own environment, but please talk to us first so we can educate you on policies, best practices, go to us when you need help, all this kind of stuff. At the same time, then setting up different environments also allows you then to start thinking about, hey, what kind of data loss prevention policies can you and should you actually use? And the good thing is here that the same DLP policies that are in place already for your apps and your flows could also then apply to your Copilot Studio-based agents, basically. So yes, similar scenario. Plus, in addition here, with DLP policies, you can also control which channels can be used. So simply said, when you say, okay, I want to deploy, again, I want to make, again, only the Microsoft 365 Copilot and Teams channel available, but not the WhatsApp channel, as an example, you can control that via policies. It also allows you to be a bit more granular. So with the DLP policy, you could even set an exception on a dedicated environment where there's one use case from the marketing team. They're allowed to deploy to WhatsApp, but nobody else can. Obviously, can be done. So yeah, same thing again as for your Power Platform governance. Start using those DLP policies or start thinking about how can you reuse or extend them accordingly. Now, when it comes to the monitoring aspect, so that's mainly around figuring out what's actually going on in your tenant. The key question is, how do you do that right now with your other assets? Do you have something in place to check how many apps do you have? How many flows do you have? Who created them? When were they created? Is there a life cycle management? So I'm not going to say you're going to use exactly the same thing, but a lot of that is probably relatively similar. For example, if you say, yes, anything created in a development environment has got certain restrictions, but if you want to publish it to bigger number of people, then you need to go through a review process. Something similar could also be done here for Copilot Studio. Now, just want to talk a little bit more about those parts now in more detail, so that we can see then how does that now specifically apply when you look at Copilot Studio-based agents. When it comes to the environment strategy, obviously environment strategy is a big topic by itself that you could spend at least an hour talking about, but keeping it simple right now, where do you want to allow people to create and use agents? Is it in, so to say, existing environments, meaning, oh, you create an environment where, or multiple environments where, for example, you've got also apps and flows, where people might already have something, or maybe you want to say, no, I want to create dedicated environments specifically for agents. So they're really purely for agents. I mean, it's not something that I would say there's a definite answer what you should be doing, but those are just two potential options here. And again, coming back to, oh, should you put everything in the default environment? We've seen that all with Power Apps and Power Automate flow. So default environment is not always the best place to use. So same thing for agents. Yes, people will build something there, but you can also prevent them in a way to doing too much things in the default environment. Rather make sure that they put things in other environments, whether that's maybe, I don't know, allowing them to put an agent in another environment that they have access to, or creating it in dedicated agent environments. So something you would need to review internally. There are benefits and drawbacks to each, but yeah, it really means then when you look at your existing environment strategy, which you hopefully have, then those are the topics then to also look at here. Together with the environment strategy, then obviously you also look at your data loss prevention policy. So your DLPs, you can apply them to one or more environments. You can exempt environments from data loss prevention policies. It's always a good idea to have some, let's call it a default data loss prevention policy in place for all environments that don't have any other policies applied, so that you can ensure then that, yes, maybe only a subset of connectors are allowed. When it now comes to Copilot Studio, there's something very important that I just mentioned also. So you can control via your DLP what is available to Copilot Studio makers. So when somebody builds an agent, you can see, oh, you could actually allow or block certain things here. I mean, you look at that list here, and I hope it's big enough for you, but when you look at the list, I mean, you could easily block certain parts here. So there's, for example, the Teams and Microsoft 365 channel that you could actually block. I mean, not saying that it should be blocked, but you could say, hey, maybe I'm going to block everything that you see here in the default environment. So people, yeah, can start to do something, but at the moment they want to save, they can error saying, hey, you started doing something, but it's actually all not allowed. Talk to your admin. That might actually be one option. You might also say, hey, no, actually, I mean, some of those things are perfectly fine. Like Facebook is, yeah, maybe not so much wanted, but Teams and M65 Copilot, for example, is good. Yeah, so you could say, actually, yes, Facebook is going to get blocked as an example. At the same time, for example, here, as an example, blocked here in this case are the SharePoint channel and the WhatsApp channel. Why are they blocked? With the DLP, what you can put in place is that any new connector is automatically added to one of those different groups here. So business, non-business, and blocked. And what you see here right now is that there are basically two big groups here. One is business, which is basically the big group of connectors that are allowed, and blocked is everything that you're currently not allowed to use. And what it means here is, hey, whenever there's a new connector, it automatically gets added to the blocked group. So whenever a new channel appears, it automatically gets blocked. And that's really a small, but quite, I would say quite useful thing to do, because as mentioned, there might be Microsoft pushing out a new update, a new channel today, and your maker might start using it tomorrow, and you haven't even had time to even read about it. So I want to make sure, for example, then yes, when something like that happens, people can't start using new stuff unless basically it has been reviewed by us or they have basically brought it up with us. So one of those things you could also do then for yourself. But coming back to the overall DLP planning here, so you see there are lots of connectors, and like I said, using DLPs would then allow you to say, for example, default environment, we block everything. Dedicated environments, we allow, for example, some or all of those connectors. So again, saying yes, you can use, for example, the Teams and M65 channel, but not, for example, the WhatsApp channel again. So yes, DLPs are definitely going to be useful for you. And as mentioned, if you already have some data loss prevention policies in place for your environments, then yes, this is definitely going to apply for Copilot Studio agents as well. Definitely going to be useful for you. If you don't have any yet, I would strongly recommend to start looking at it. There's definitely a lot of value here, at least to ensure that you're not basically or that your colleagues, your users are not building something that they shouldn't build and accidentally, leak data or put data somewhere that they shouldn't do or something similar. Now, I just mentioned some more examples. So again, one option could be, yes, you block, for example, the Copilot Studio generally in the default environment, but allow it everywhere else. That could be one possible option. And when I say everywhere else, then really then every single other environment, you could say then has got the same, yes, everything's allowed kind of policy. Or the option one here is really, yeah, we generally block Copilot Studio unless it's in a dedicated environment for maybe a dedicated use case that was reviewed. So again, you're not just blocking in the default environment, but across the board, but somebody needs to come to you and talk to you about it before you allow them to use it. It's maybe a bit more, restrictive, but you might have very valid reasons, obviously, depending on what kind of corporate policies you have, what kind of industry, etc. And again, those are not the only two options. There are lots of options depending on what you might already have in place or what your situation is. There may be lots of other different scenarios, but DLPs offer you obviously a lot of flexibility. All right, so let's say we started to actually put in some guardrails in place. How do we now monitor our agents? How do I know what's actually going on? So my first thought is, I'm going to the Power Platform Admin Center. Just very recently, I think it was last week. Yes, last week during the big Power Platform conference in Las Vegas. I think it was actually announced that there's not just going to be this new inventory visible, but it's also going to be accessible via API. So it really means when you go into your Power Platform Admin Center right now, go to Manage and Copilot Studio, you see a nice list of agents. There are drawbacks here when it comes to that list. So yes, you can sort a bit, but filtering not easily possible. Finding out more information about an agent, you don't get much more detail actually than what you see here. So you got a little bit of high-level information, but when you see, hey, what kind of, channels is that agent published to or so, you can't see that. You have to basically click on the agent. Hopefully you've got access to the agent and then you can see it, but not really a good idea. So that's one place. But then there's also the other agent inventory in the Microsoft 365 Admin Center. That one is not just Copilot Studio agents, but all kinds of agents. So again, that also includes, for example, as you can see here, maybe from that screenshot, the Microsoft-based agents that you see in Copilot. So there's the research agent visible here right now. There's the new app builder agent. So yes, another inventory. It's also showing you things. There's also a bit more information because it also tells you then some supported channels. Plus, when you click on it, you get a bit more detail. Still, for me, it was not enough detail, because sometimes when I look at an agent, or I really want to hear a lot more about it, I want to see a lot more detail about what's actually going on, I need as much detail as possible without having to go to the agent actually. Because what I also want to do is then, for example, do some maybe further review analysis, grouping agents, filtering, other stuff. So not something I can do here, but at least you could, for example, export this list here to Excel and do additional stuff. Next option. So if you're a Power Platform administrator, there's a very good chance that you are using the Power Platform Starter Kit, so the Center of Excellence Starter Kit, then to really manage your, manage and govern really your Power Platform components, your apps, your flows, your environments, all those kind of things. So that includes an inventory. So every day it basically starts a new inventorying process and tries to get the latest list of agents, of flows, of connectors, of apps with a lot more detail. So for example, what you see here then here under the active bots here, when I go into one of those agents, then I will see more information than, for example, in PPAC in the M365 Admin Center. So I can then see, for example, for an agent, again, a bit more information about channels, about, sorry, I forgot all the other parts right now because I've been talking too much. But yeah, there's more detail to it. Let's put it that way then. So a bit more useful than just the agent name and who created it and when. But yeah, a bit more technical detail then as well. I think it also shows me, for example, information now about, oh, does it use Gen AI, something like that. Now there's a fourth option, because obviously 3 areas are not enough. Let's look at the fourth one, which is the Copilot Studio Kit. That's now, it's a year old or so. I can't remember. It's been a while since it's out, but it's growing and being extended nicely. So the Copilot Studio Kit is a bit like the Copilot Studio focused version of the, in a way, of the series Starter Kit. So the Copilot Studio Kit is really focusing on agent tools only. When I say tools, it's not just meant basically for you as a administrator, but also as a maker, it can be extremely useful because it contains a lot of useful components. Now, the inventory is obviously then the interesting thing, because now we can see, okay, there's some nice charts. We get some more details again around which ones are using generative AI features, which one are using AI prompts, which one are using tools, what tools, etc., etc. So there's a lot more information. So this is actually right now, personally speaking, my preferred way to look at an inventory. It's not perfect. There's still room for improvement or so, but if I have to choose between these 4 options at the moment, I would really choose the Copilot Studio Kit to really say, this is where I go and monitor what's actually going on in my tenant. And yeah, like I said, so which one is the best way to monitor? I've got my personal preference. For a lot of people, it might be really, it depends, because installing the COE Starter Kit or the Copilot Studio Kit really means there's a bit of setup and maintenance required. Again, it's not always just really, it's there, like it's PPAC or the M365 Admin Center. The bottom 2 really require you then to put in a bit of effort and do a couple of things yourself then. And that really means then, yes, you really need to decide for yourself how much information do you actually need, what kind of details do you require, to also not just want to have some inventory, but additional processes like lifecycle management or additional functionality. That's where you might need to start thinking about, okay, do you want to put in that additional effort with setting something up and then continuously maintaining it, considering that around, more or less every month there's a newer version for example, the Starter Kit and the Copilot Studio Kit. Now, one quick thing I want to mention, when we talk about monitoring agent, we're talking about it from a high level. So my image on the right side also mentions application insights. That's obviously useful if you do some low-level monitoring. So directly, I want to monitor one agent directly as an example. But in our case, we want to monitor at scale. We want to see, yes, what's going on in the tenant overall, and not just, hey, what does one individual agent basically do, who's talking to it, etc., but really the big overview. That's what we're looking at. So I mentioned there's a lot more in the Copilot Studio Kit that's useful, and I'm not even showing everything here. And I also didn't want to dump a lot of text or a lot of additional screenshots. general comment I have is if you're working with Copilot Studio as an administrator or maybe even just as a heavy maker, have a look at it. There's a lot of useful stuff here. Again, I mentioned inventory. We've seen a screenshot of that. So that's obviously one very important thing. Knowing what's in your tenant really is extremely important. If you don't know how many agents you have, who created them, yeah, it's a bit challenging, obviously, to govern anything. If you don't know what's out there, how do you know what you should be actually doing? Because if you see, hey, in the last month, our users created 1,000 new agents, then you might start to panic. But if you realize, oh, only one agent was created, it's going to be a whole different story, basically, in terms of what your next few weeks would look like. Now, as part of that, you can see here there are a couple of things that are probably then quite useful for maybe individual scenarios. When I say individual scenarios, for example, the agent review tool allows you to then review individual agents and see how are they set up? Are they set up the right way? Is there anything that's maybe of a bit of a concern, or are they properly configured? So this tool can help you then with some of those reviews. You definitely don't want to run that against every single agent, because honestly, when you've got 100 agents that were created in the past week, then probably at least 25% or maybe even 50% of those are test agents. Somebody is going into Copilot Studio, creating something for testing purposes, for fun, and forgets about it the next day. So review tool is really more for something, hey, maybe as part of your process that if somebody wants to deploy an agent from the development environment to the production environment, let's go through the review tool to make sure that it's properly set up, properly working, that there are no concerns, as an example. Agent value below is also an important thing. So this then helps also to capture potential value of your agents. Now, a value discussion is always difficult because a value of an agent can sometimes be a bit tricky to be captured. Is it something that, hey, there's one conversation with an agent that a person does? How much value does that generate? It could be that, hey, this one conversation results in cost savings of $10,000, whereas you might also have 1,000 conversations that only result in, I don't know, some improved data, you could say. The question is then, how much value do you put against the improved data? Is there even a value that you can put against it? Because, might also be challenging. But yes, long story short, agent value can help you get started with those kind of discussions if you really want to figure out, hey, we've got a couple of agents, is there any value to them, or what kind of value is there? Not going to say it's definitely the perfect thing to use, a perfect tool to use for agent value discussions, but it can potentially be a starting point. So something you should review for yourself then if it is useful or not. But I'm happy still to see that it is out there and that it can be used. Okay, I'm going to skip the conversation analyzer. You can read up about that yourself. But brand new right now is that Agent Compliance Hub that really just came out, I think yesterday, if I'm not wrong, or 2 days ago. So brand new, basically the latest version of the Copilot Studio Kit. So the November release now includes the Compliance Hub. And let me just jump over. I didn't have enough time to do a very detailed, thorough overview. So you see, I've got a lot of zeros and a lot of demo numbers here right now. But to me, that already looks like a very interesting start. Again, I'm not saying this is the perfect thing, but it's one important part of that whole presentation that I'm trying to, or that whole message I'm trying to bring across here right now. The Copilot Studio Kit is growing, and Microsoft is putting in a good amount of effort here in providing some really valuable things. So this Compliance Hub to me right now looks maybe not like the perfect thing I want to roll out right away, but it's something I'm going to keep in mind, because again, depending on what's going to happen there, I can actually then configure certain rules. So I can say, if somebody crosses a certain threshold when it comes to something, some settings, that, for example, a notification email should go out. So that could be then again certain audit and compliance thresholds that you define, and you want to make sure then that automatically when one of those thresholds is crossed, that some process starts. And when you think about what you might have put in place with the COE Starter Kit for Power Apps and Power Automate Flows, it could be similar. So for apps and flows, or let's talk, for example, about apps. For Power Apps, a very popular and common thing was to think about, should people be allowed, for example, to share with the whole tenant? Are you allowed to share an app with everybody in the organization? Because maybe it's a good thing, maybe it's not such a good thing, depending on use case. So yeah, so that's something that was one of those things where you could really say, okay, I want to make sure that the moment somebody does something that's maybe not quite right, but from a technical point of view, they can do it, you really want to discuss it with them. So this would then allow you to review those kind of activities here. And again, not saying again, oh, this definitely needs to be used, but I'm happy to see all that growth and those enhancements coming into the Copilot Studio Kit, which has been constantly getting improved, etc. Now, the Copilot Studio, this kit is developed by the PowerCat team, the customer advisory team from Microsoft. So it's a bit, what do you call that? A bit separate, obviously, from the out-of-the-box platform. So when you look at what's available in the Power Platform Admin Center, the Copilot Studio Kit is, so to say, the enhancement that provides things that's not part of the overall Power Platform and Copilot Studio product overall. But it still comes from Microsoft, so it's still very useful. But there are also functionalities coming directly from Microsoft that are out of the box. So managed environments have been also around for, I forgot how long. Is it now 2-3 years? Probably more. Yeah, definitely more than 2 years. And obviously they were important when it comes to managing your environments with Power Apps and Power Automate at scale. Now, there's more and more happening now, obviously also then with Copilot Studio. So what you can do is actually within the Power Platform Admin Center, you can define environment groups. So you want to define some policies that get applied to a specific group of environments. You can define those, those rules and apply it to those environment groups then. Now, there are a range of additional features coming into the platform. I have not seen them when I checked earlier today, but I think they might be rolling out or coming very soon. I'm just going to share them here. So they were shared by Henri Jam, who is working for Microsoft. So he shared that on LinkedIn. I haven't seen the official documentation for it yet, but I'm pretty sure I just didn't look hard enough for it yet. But you can see there's a range of very nice and interesting looking controls here as well. So really, when you think about, okay, who should be allowed to create who should be allowed to create agents and roll them out? Maybe you want to control it. So yes, everybody can create agents, but the moment you share it with, I don't know, more than 5 people or something like that, yeah, we definitely need to have a review. So that's a possibility here. Or again, saying, yes, authentication for agents. We don't want to have any agent that is not that is using anonymous authentication. Everything should go through any sign-in, basically. So lots of different options here. So you can see also at the bottom some around AI settings and which AI models can be used or cannot be used. Again, that's only available in managed environments. So I don't want to call it a drawback of managed environments because it's basically the way it is, but managed environments really means if you have an app in there or flow in there, anybody who accesses it, for example, the app requires a Power Apps premium license. The good news is when it comes to Copilot Studio now, when you develop agents in managed environments, there's no such thing as a user-based license that is required. It's all getting covered then through the Copilot Studio credits, basically. So if so far you were concerned about managed environments, saying, hey, we have 1,000 employees, we can't afford 1,000 premium licenses, for example, you could actually create dedicated environments just for Copilot Studio agents, have them become managed environments, but yeah, don't create any apps, for example, in there, but then you can still basically get all of that functionality here covered by the Copilot Studio Copilot credits, and basically, so covering it basically that new functionality, not with the user-based licenses, but through the Copilot Studio-based, cost controls. Anyway, so let me just check the time again. Yes, ending quite nicely right now. So moving towards the end. I tried to summarize it a bit in terms of what I just mentioned in the presentation, but I really thought I'm just going to keep it extremely simple right now. As mentioned, there are lots and lots and lots of things that I could talk about when it comes about governance. We could probably talk for the next couple of days here non-stop. But key takeaway right now is if you already have some Power Platform governance in place, you can actually extend and or reuse and extend it. So not that you need to plan something completely differently, but start with what you already have and see if there's anything else that you might need to take care of, but very good chance that you are already relatively well covered. And the second takeaway is then don't just rely on what's available out of the box. There are also additional options available. Obviously, managed environments are out of the box, but not a lot of people think of them right away. But yes, definitely have a look at least what the Copilot Studio Kit provides and see what could be done with it. I'm not sure how easily we can share those resources. I'll talk to Syskit again if they're then maybe getting part of the deck here that we can share. But in case you want to have a look at that, basically that's also available from Microsoft. There are 3 very interesting resources. And one is the CIO playbook to governing AI agents in a low-code world. Quite a long thing, but that's a bit of a, let's call it a marketing / governance / information presentation. So lots of interesting things in there. Part of what I talked about in my presentation is in this slide deck here. There's also a lot of other things. Talking, for example, about adoption. I didn't talk about adoption at all, obviously, but should also be looked at. Yes, lots of stuff there. There's the agent governance white paper. It's already a couple of months old, so it feels like it's half outdated, I'm going to say, but still important or valuable to be looked at, and the agent cost management ebook. And I think even that one is already a bit outdated again with the latest changes that recently were announced for agent-based cost controls, but still it's not completely new everything. So when you look at Copilot licenses or Copilot Studio credits with pay-as-you-go, that's also covered in there. So those are definitely relevant resources to be looked at. I forgot to add actually the Copilot Studio Kit link here. I'm going to take care of that afterwards, but definitely also one thing to look at.
I just wanted to add, sorry, Rene. Yes. Just wanted to add, we're going to send the slides and the resources to everybody that registered. You'll get an email probably tomorrow, because I know it's almost 11 p.m. for Rene and for our team in Zagreb. It's getting close to 4 or 5 p.m. So tomorrow you'll all have an email with the recording and those awesome resources as well.
Yeah, excellent. Yeah, and that's it then from my side. So Vlad, handing right back to you again.
Thank you so much for the awesome presentation. I learned a lot. And for everyone watching, I see there's a few questions that started appearing in the chat. I need some tougher ones. We need to get some more difficult ones to stump Rene and make sure he has a challenge. So don't hesitate to ask all of the tough questions. But before that, we're going to give Rene a quick break while we have Jove, who will show you how Syskit Point can help give you full Power Platform visibility and help keep your data and agents under control.
Thank you, Vlad, for the introduction, and thank you, Rene, for the great presentation. It was a lot of useful information to get you started. So hello, my name is Herboy. I'm an engineering team lead here at Syskit, and I'm driving our efforts to build a Power Platform and Copilot agents integration and to help you get a better insights as what's going on. So to get you started, I'm just going to talk briefly about what Syskit Point actually does. So we build a governance and management tool, or I would call it even a platform that can help you solve your M365 problems such as oversharing, sprawl, storage and license optimization, and the governance of the Power Platform environment. And we support most, if not all, M365 services. So for today and for this quick demo, I'm going to more focus on Power Platform and later on AI agents as a concept. So to start us off, I'm going to talk a bit about our Power Platform functionality, because the Copilot agents are a natural part of it, and it's going to give me a good opportunity to showcase you how the Syskit point tackles these governance issues. So the idea here behind our Power Platform functionality is to give you a quick insights into your environment. So of course you get a quick inventory overview here in my Syskit point homepage. So everything starts with a homepage, I guess. So I have a nice dashboard here. You get a row number, but as we are a governance tool, we like to focus immediately into potential issues that you may have in your environment and to help you solve them. So the two important things that we like to highlight from the start are the orphaned resources and inactive resources. And then we cover that throughout your Power Platform resources. So let's just jump into it, and it is the easiest way for me to show you what you can do here. So here I have my five orphan apps. So what is an orphan app, you may ask? So this is an application that an owner is either disabled in Entra ID or deleted from it. And this is really important from the governance standpoint, is if you have a mission critical application and there's no owner of it. So we give you a quick glance into what's going on, and the best way, you can check here the report, and you get a primary owner, Joe, and I know that Joe is disabled. He left the company, and I need to solve that. The thing that we like to do in Syskit Point is to just navigate you through the problem and then help you solve it. So for example, here, if I click on this app, I can see all the Power App permissions. So to see who are the users that have permissions to this app, and we are here talking most about users that have permissions to modify and then take ownership of the Power App, because this is the important part when we're talking about the governance. So I'm just going to click on a cross-functional integration, and then I can change owners here easily. So I can remove Joe, add somebody, maybe Eva or Lee, as they already have permissions, or just have a dedicated owner. As always, it's a good idea to have multiple owners. So if one owner is not there, there's somebody to jump in. So that's why you should maybe have a primary and then co-owner to help you make sure that this app is always available. But as you can see, we try to guide you through the problem and then to the solution for example, for these cases. So let's jump back into our home and then just talk a bit about these inactive resources. This is the second thing that can maybe clog up your environment. So if we go here to inactive flows, I'm gonna get a list of all the flows that were never run or were run or were not run in the last 30 days. And these are maybe things that I don't need in my environment because they're just making a lot of noise and they're not being used. You can find out primary owner, just then contact them and see if it's actually still needed, or you can just go select everything and delete these flows if there's something that you wish. But as you can see, we always have this, here's the report, and here are the actions that you actually can perform on them. So this is a quick rundown of what you can do with the Power Platform. There is a whole lot of other reports that are gonna give you insights into your Power Platform, and this is just basically the quick intro. That's gonna give me and lead me nicely into our AI agents part. So the AI agents are getting everywhere. We are historically mostly we started with the SharePoint, so we also support SharePoint agents. You can see all the different SharePoint agents in your environment, and then if they are newly created, or you can go and see the same thing for the Copilot agents. So to give a quick value to our customers, we are also being a true governance tool. We give you these agents. They may need your I would say attention right away. So for example, in the orphaned users, we get the orphaned Copilot agents. We get the same idea here as well. So these are the agents that do not have active user. To highlight, maybe I would say that the thing that I like the most about our Copilot agents offering is the sensitive agents. So we talked about how agents can pull data from a lot of different options, and then we give you a quick report that is going to highlight the sensitive reports. So which agents are sensitive? Well, the easiest way for me to explain that is if I go here to my knowledge sources. So this is a report that's going to tell you for these reports, for these agents, what their knowledge sources are, and all the knowledge sources from the SharePoint that have sensitive content are marked as sensitive. And how do we define that? Well, we at Syskit believe that sensitivity labels are something that you should be using inside of your tenancy, and then all the documents and SharePoint sites that are marked with the sensitivity label can be classified as sensitive content, and you can do that easily using Syskit point here. And if I go to general settings for your whole tenancy, and this is going to make your life much easier, is if you pronounce one of your sensitivity labels as a sensitive content, and then you can do a lot of different reporting options and management options inside of the point. And that gives you a great idea of what this agent is pulling the data from, and that can help you maybe to do some kind of review process and to see if this agent need to actually pull the data from there. Additionally, we also pull all the different connector types for the knowledge sources, so such as Dataverse, files, SharePoint, or even Power Platform connectors that you can pull, that the agents can pull data from. So yeah, so that's actually concludes my quick presentation. I didn't want to take too much of your time. So we are still kind of in early stages with our Copilot agents offering. As you maybe saw, that there are no management actions, and that's something that we like to introduce as soon as possible. So we are still building this feature up. If you have any needs, I would say please reach out to us. We can set up Copilot agent sync inside of your environment, and you can see what kind of data you see, and maybe there are some features that you would like, and then we can try to work it out from there. So yeah, that concludes my quick presentation. I'm going to give it over to Vlad to start our Q&A part.
Don't go too far until Rene comes back on screen. I do have a question for you.
Yeah.
Can we reassign owners of agents with Syskit Point?
Currently, no. So that's something that I think is on our roadmap to introduce management actions on Copilot agents part. So currently, we are just reporting.
Okay, awesome. And that's a good thing to put in our roadmap as well, since there is need for it. Now, some questions for Rene. Are Copilot Studio actions captured in Purview?
That's a very interesting question. I'm tempted to say yes. When I say tempted to say yes,
especially the audit log is usually every breath you take, every step you make, he'll be watching you.
Exactly.
So I want to say yes as well, but
I haven't looked at it myself yet, actually. But actually, yes, that's the first place I would actually look at.
So maybe
honestly,
that's
I'd be surprised if it wasn't locked there. Yes. Yeah.
Okay, another question for you for the Copilot Studio Kit. So is that like the, what is it called? The Power Platform Kit, the adoption kit. Is it supported or is it provided open source by Microsoft?
It is provided open source Microsoft, so it's available via GitHub if you want to download it, look at it, what's in there, but you can also get it through App Store. So you could also go into your Power Platform Admin Center, install it from there if you wanted to. But yes, it's available on GitHub. You can look at it all directly there as well.
Okay, awesome. Okay, so can you comment on the current Admin Center for Copilot feature comparing to existing Power Platform Admin Center features?
Right.
I'm reading the question.
Not sure if I understand it. Not sure if I understand it correctly, but
what do you think about the integration? And do you think somebody that knows how to admin the Power Platform has all the features they need right now in the to manage agents as well?
Yeah, so it's quite interesting because obviously, I mean, when we look at agents, there are different types of agents. So when it now comes to managing agents overall, there are different places you need to go to govern them. So when you specifically look at Copilot Studio based agents, yes, there are things basically directly in the Power Platform Admin Center. As mentioned, you've got your environments, you've got your DLP policy, etc. Plus, you've got also some areas there specifically for Copilot Studio agents. At the same time, I know that there are also other settings that are available in other admin centers. For example, just a random thing that comes to my mind is if you want to publish an agent to Microsoft Teams, there might be a Teams setting that basically blocks the connectivity between the published agent in Teams and the actual agent, meaning then, yeah, you talk to the agent in Teams, it doesn't work because of that particular setting. So long story short, when it comes to configuring or managing settings that allow you then to configure then your agents overall, I think you need to look at multiple admin centers. And there will not be probably any consolidation. You will need to have access to all of them or need to have a colleague that can help you with configuring what you might need there, yes. But yes, Power Platform Admin Center is definitely the first place to go to, but I know there are things that you need to go to for the in the Microsoft 365 Admin Center. And again, as mentioned, for example, Teams Admin Center is not the most important for this aspect here, but it's also something that you might do there over there.
So keep your friends close and your other admins even closer, because you're going to need their permissions. Yeah. Okay, a question about Syskit Point. Will Syskit Point automatically pick up agents after they are deployed?
Yes, so yeah, we do a regular sync every day, so data can maybe be all up to 24 hours, but after that, it's going to show up in Syskit Point.
Awesome. Back to Rene, or both of you, where can I monitor Copilot prompts per user? Is it in the admin panel or is it in Purview? I know so many Purview questions today. I feel like there's a need for a follow-up on Purview and Copilot, a dedicated webinar. And
I don't think you can see them in the admin center, actually. Yeah.
That there's a limitation of 30 prompts per user in the admin panel. But can Purview collect more than 30? So again, I think this, judging by both your faces, this is warm-up. This is a homework, not warm-up. When I told people to ask you the tough questions, they took it literally. I love it. But you know what? We're going to take that back, and I'm not sure if we're going to get the answer by tomorrow for the newsletter, but I will make sure to share the answer with you once we find the official one. Okay, let me check here. One more question here, because I know we're already over time. Why did my there we go, my question panel closed? I'm so sorry. Okay, last question. According to you, what are the best practices to structure environments between dev, test, prod with Copilot Studio? Do you have dedicated environments for agents, or do they go with the rest of your Power Platform ALM strategy?
To be honest, I mean, I'm not going to say that there is a definite best practice, because it obviously depends on organizational policies, potentially on other strategies, etc. Might differ from company to company, but most of the time I would say yes, it should just follow your existing strategy, so that you don't treat your agents separate from your apps and flows, or that you create separate environments. I think most of the time it really makes perfect sense to put it all into one bucket, so to say. Because what you might have is obviously not just an agent, but also a couple of flows, maybe accompanying apps, etc., etc. So it might be, a couple of things working together with each other. So you don't want to split it up. Plus, it might be, even in the end, it might be easier for you to say then, yes, if you actually allow people to create their agents in the same environment as their apps and flows, and you keep the for example, your data loss prevention policies that way standardized, then yes, it's going to be less effort. So I think trying to split it up in such a way then that you've got dedicated Copilot Studio environments will be more effort. Not going to say you shouldn't do it, but if you really need it, you can do it. But most of the time I would say, yes, just reuse your existing policies and environments.
Awesome. Okay, one more question sneaked in, and this is the last one for real, I promise. If I publish an agent to a SharePoint site, will everyone who has access to the SharePoint site have access to the agent?
It depends. Now, the depends is obviously a licensing question. So the agent will be available for people who've got an M65 Copilot license. It will also be available if you've got what is called the
pay-as-you-go
licensing enabled
messaging pack, or however it's called now.
Yeah. What I'm now wondering is if it's then, let's say you've got licenses, if it's then definitely available to you. My understanding is yes, but I'm already starting to overthink again and trying to figure out if I can restrict it. But my standard answer would be yes, then everybody in that site has got access.
Awesome. Well, thank you so much. And once again, thank you everyone for joining us on today's webinar. And as mentioned before, everyone who registered for this event will receive a recording of the webinar, and you'll also get the links of the resources that Rene shared. So we're going to have all of them in there. Rene, before we're done, any final words for people, any final piece of advice?
Not really advice. I mean, just a general comment again. Start looking around what other information you can find out about, again, Copilot Studio Kit, governance. There's a lot of resources online. I shared some of the official Microsoft resources. There's lots of other content available from, the broader community. Lots of MVPs are sharing content around governance, etc. There's lots of things happening on LinkedIn. So have a look around. There's really a lot that you can learn from a lot of other people as well. So yeah.
Awesome. Well, thank you so much. And for everyone, if you have any other further questions about Syskit Point, please reach out to us at sales@syskit.com. It was a pleasure having you all here, and we hope to see you for the next webinar. See you all soon.
Thank you.